Algebra 1, Module 4, Lesson 17, Graphing Quadratic Functions from the Standard Form. Now, there is one thing for sure that you should be able to look at and tell me right now based on the Standard Form. What is it? Who? Sure. What can you find right now? No. What can you look at in the Standard Form and find right now? Okay, we can find A, B, and C's, but there's something specific to this graph that we can find. What? The y-intercept. We know exactly what the y-intercept is. And what is that, Sarah? Thank you. Y-intercept is equal to a -7. Because if I plug in 0 for all of the x's, I would still get a -7. So it's 0, -7. That is where it's going to cross the y-axis. Now, what's the first thing you're going to try and do with Standard Form? What's the first method you need to try and do? What's the first method? The first method we learned about? Factoring. Yes, Jordan. We're trying to factor. Can we factor this by doing trial and error? No, not going to be factorable. Now let's think about this. We know A, B, and C, right? Can we do quadratic formula? Well, what's the quadratic formula going to tell us? The x-intercept. So let's go ahead and try that. Opposite of B plus or minus. Well, let me just go ahead and write it. Opposite of B plus or minus square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. All right. Opposite of B, -10 plus or minus the square root. 10 squared is 100 minus 4a is 4 times -7, so it's going to be a plus 28. 7 times 4 is 28. All divided by 2. 2a, 2. Everybody chat me on that. Make sure y'all get that. Speak now, forever hold your peace. I'm going to go ahead and get my calculator because I'm already noticing that there's not a perfect square here, and I don't like it. Okay? So let's go with -10 plus or minus the square root of 128 all over 2. Now, what can we factor out of 128? Is there a perfect square? What about 4? That will work. What about 16? That will work. What about, what's another one? 25 won't work. 36? What's 128 divided by 36? Nope. 49? Nope. 64? 128 divided by 64, that should work, shouldn't it? 2. There we go. That's our perfect squares. So we have -10 plus or minus the square root of 64 times 2, all divided by 2. Square root 64, and that is what? 8 square roots of 2 divided by 2. Now remember, when we have This is divided by 2. We have to divide each term by 2, right? So we would have negative 5 plus or minus 4 square roots of 2. We divided the 10 by 2 and the 8 by 2. So we would have negative 5 plus 4 square roots of 2. And let me see what they did for the answer. See what we want to do. Okay, they have it rounded, so we will round it as well to 0.7. Yeah, it's actually 0.65668524292, blah, 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 blah. So we'll go with this one. And then we got to do negative 5 minus 4 square roots of 2. And we get a negative 10.7. So there's our two x's. So now we have our y-intercept. We have our two x-intercepts. Now, we can also tell something. I forgot about this. The standard form also tells us something else. What does it tell us? Sarah looked at the very end and told us the y-intercept. What if we look at the very front? What does it tell us? Okay, it tells us which way it's opened up. Which way is it opened up? Which way? What is the end behavior? Yeah. Up. It's positive, so it's opening up, right? Positive. If it was negative, it'd be opening down. Everybody got that? Look. Positive, opening up. Negative, opening down. Parabola. Okay? So we already know a whole lot. Now, what are we missing, though? What's the other thing that we are missing? What else do we need to know right here? We got the y-intercept. When we're writing or drawing a parabola, what do we need? Vertex, right? How do we find the vertex? You should have learned this in the video if you remembered it from when y'all watched this, Wednesday or never. How do you find the vertex? When you have standard form. We're not in vertex form here. So we can't just look for H and K. How would we find the vertex in standard form? Vertex in standard form. The V is equal to the opposite of B over 2A. Now, if you think about that, where have you seen this before? Somebody tell me. Come on, think. Use your brains here. Don't hurt yourself, Michael. Where have you seen this before? The opposite of B over 2A. What part of the quadratic formula? It's the very first part of it. So let's look back right here. That's the opposite of B over 2A. And what was it? Negative 5. How's that a vertex? How's negative 5 a vertex? It's not a vertex. That's the x of the vertex. How else could we have found that? How else could we have found that? Think about finding your x. How could we do that? Okay. Forget about it. How else? Y'all know how to find it that way. Let's find it that way. How else, or what do we need to find our y now? How are you going to do that? Plug in your x. So if I plug in -5, I have what? I'm going to have -5 squared plus 10 times -5 minus 7. Plug that in, and I get -32. So you're telling me that I can plug in any x and get the y? Yes, that's the whole point of having an equation. I plugged it into x squared plus 10x minus 7. All right, so let me rewrite these. Y-intercept is equal to a -7. X-intercept is equal to 0.7 and -10.7. Wait a second. That was 0.7, correct? Anybody remember? It's not negative? I think that's right. Okay. So now we got the x-intercept, we got the y-intercept. What else do we need? Vertex is equal to a -5, -32. That's got it, right? We can graph it from that. Oh, no, that's it. Okay. So I'm about to erase some of this just to make it cleaner. All right, now then, let's graph this. Oh boy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is -10 right here. So we're going to go to -10.7. So almost to 11. And then this is going to be right near 1. So we're going to call it right here. That's 0.7. It's -10.7. Okay. Y-intercept is -7, so let's go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we are with -7. So let's put us a dot there, dot there, dot there. Now we have a vertex of -5, 32. Ooh, we ain't gonna be able to do that, are we? We don't have enough spaces, so we're gonna have to do something else with our y here. Let's do it by, oh man, that's going to be tough, 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 tough. Let's do it by, oh, this is going to look goofy. Let's do it by 4s. So if this is 4, 8, that means our y-intercept is going to be right here. Okay. And then we have, what was that? 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's -5. Down 32. Okay. And we know it's opening up, so it's going to look something like that right there. That is a horrible parabola. Let's try that again. Okay. Something like that. Okay? You see how we figured out all of that? Figure out the y-intercept by looking at it. You can actually figure out the vertex by looking at it. If you remember the vertex formula, V equals opposite of B over 2A when it's in standard form. Okay? solve for x's to get our x-intercepts, and you got everything you need to graph it. Look at which way it's opening up by looking at the leading coefficient, and you're done.